Do you want to understand why humans do what they do? Keep watching. Hi everybody and welcome. This is Authentic Alley. Today we're going to be discussing why people do what they do. I've been a student of Brett Weinstein for a really long time, and he recently brought up this concept of motivation. How when it comes to change, people are motivated either by fear or by hope. And that you can't talk to the two different kinds of people in the same way, because hope will almost be a deterrent to people who are motivated by fear, and fear will be paralyzing for somebody that's motivated by hope. But I actually think we should extend this definition to all human behavior. So I kind of call it the modes of living. You can live in a state of near constant fear and behave from that emotional state, or you can live in a state of near constant hope and make your decisions from that emotional state. And that kind of is what determines how you see the world and what actions you choose to take. For example, if somebody is living in fear, they're going to work so that they can earn money to support their family because they're worried that their family won't have enough to eat. Versus somebody who's motivated by hope, they're far more likely to go into a career field where they're using their creativity and they're trying to better both themselves and the business around them. I'd say that the majority of people live in a state of fear, and that makes sense for a lot of reasons, because fear of survival is probably the most primal sense that we have. Everything in us tries to make sure that we stay alive, so it's almost expected for us to live in a state of fear, because then we'll know we'll have enough for tomorrow and the next day and the next day. Of course, when it comes to creating change, and like in our current environment where our desire to survive has actually started to work against us, it is definitely important for us to transition into the new way of thought, which is living out of a state of hope. And while I'd say this is just as natural, it's not something that we really learn. Most of us are taught as children to live in a state of fear, like with statements such as money doesn't grow on trees, make sure you eat all your food because there are kids starving in Africa. I mean, there are all these little statements that, while they seem kind of harmless on the surface, really add up and create a state of fear within us. The primary way that our mode of living is going to impact our life actually comes down to something that seems really insignificant, which is it colors our perception. It decides the way that we think. So, if, for example, you had $0 in the bank, you can look at that and go, damn the world that I have to suffer through this. I can't believe I'm in this situation again. If I didn't have to pay for blah, 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 then I wouldn't be here and I wouldn't have to worry about survival anymore. Or you can look at that same situation and go, well, it's not ideal, but I'll be out of it soon enough. I'll have money in the bank again within a couple of days. It's no big deal. Now, neither of those are particularly positive, but, if you have $0 in the bank, you're probably not going to feel all that positive anyway. So, in this particular situation, you might go, well, there's not really a hopeful option. But I'd say that the less negative version is the most hopeful option. You're going for the I'm not there yet kind of concept, rather than the I'm not there and I'm never going to be. Very different mode of thought. So why did I decide to make this video? It's because in our society, we're really starting to notice how fear can be a detriment. And the reason for this is because individuals' thoughts are on their survival more than, say, their work or their invention or their creativity. And to a certain degree, creativity can only exist in a positive, hopeful environment, because otherwise you're going to be so focused on what it is you don't have that you can't really see what else is going on. One of the things that I see most often is this concept of postmodernism, and it's kind of a strange topic. I personally think the definitions are a little weird, but people like Brett Weinstein, Jordan Peterson, Eric Weinstein, and like Sam Harris and stuff, they discuss this concept of postmodernism a lot, actually. And from my perspective in watching them, the basic definition of postmodernism is living in a world without hope. It's this belief that a lot of people have that there is no hope, that we're all doomed, and that, you know, life is just going to suck from here on out. And to be honest, that kind of thought can really take you down a dark path. I mean, if you start to believe that the world is totally screwed up and humans are to blame, what's to stop you from thinking, well, humans should be destroyed? And if you think that often enough, what's to prevent you from becoming, say, a serial killer because you believe that it would benefit the world at large? It's interesting how thoughts can really lead to behavior. And part of the reason why we live in a state of fear is actually out of habit. We are used to looking at the world, seeing all the problems. And while to a certain degree that's a good thing, you can't continue to focus on the problems and get solutions at the same time. You actually have to start transitioning into a more positive state of being so that you can discover the solutions, rather than just saying, here's a problem, look at it, over and over and over again. And I kind of believe that's what those guys are doing, is they're pointing out problems, which is good, but they're not really providing solutions. And that's where I see the fault in it. If you want to see change, start giving us solutions rather than giving us problems. Because honestly, solutions we can work with, problems just depress us. So I kind of created this channel so that I could hopefully try to bring a little bit more hope into the world. People really need to realize how amazing they can be if they choose to. And this is not this concept of you're worthy, therefore you're entitled. I personally view that as a form of insecurity. So entitlement is not actually believing that you're good enough. It's believing that you aren't and you want other people to validate you. So what I'm trying to do is get people to understand that they are innately valuable and that there is hope for change. We can make a new world. We can make a better world. And while it's hard to know exactly what will create that future, it's very important that we start to live in a state of hope, going, yes, there is hope for the future, yes, we can get there. And while you might be motivated by fear, I highly suggest that you start looking for the best in the world, because, as I said before, when you're living in a state of fear, you can only get so far. You can only reach survival. You can't really move beyond it. It's only with hope that you can go beyond survival. It's only with hope that you can start to create something bigger, create something lasting. So if you're motivated by fear, more than likely you're creating a short-term solution, versus when you're motivated by hope, you're looking for the long-term solution. You're looking for what will work from here on out. And while it's pretty much impossible that anything will work from here on out, you can definitely get a lot closer to it with hope than you can with fear. So that's everything I have for you today. Concepts like this are very challenging to discuss because as a single individual person on camera, it's challenging for me to know, what's going on in your head, and I can only ever approach a situation from my own perspective and my own thoughts at the current moment. So absolutely let me know in the comments what you thought of what was said here, and also ask me questions. Let's try to expand this concept a little bit further so we can reach new levels of understanding, and I can clear up some things you might be confused about within my own philosophy. But yeah, it would be awesome if you leave a comment. I very much enjoyed the conversation I had with somebody in my video on evil, one of the two that I have, because that kind of conversation can really explode understanding so much further than one individual talking to other people. So, I definitely want this to be more of a conversation than a lecture. And by the nature of YouTube, you can't necessarily change that, but what we can do is you ask a question, I respond in another video, and so on and so forth. And that's kind of cool. You can definitely reach more people this way, which is also a reason why I'm on here. If you would be so kind as to consider supporting me on Patreon, I'm looking for 100 supporters right now at $5 a month. So, if you are willing to buy me a cup of coffee so that you can continue to receive videos like this, I would be extremely grateful. So, I look forward to seeing you over there. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you subscribe. I hope you like it. And I hope that you leave a comment so that we can keep this going. But thanks for watching. Bye.